Hello everyone. So this sort of half run, half scramble through the woods. The topic of today's blog is brutally honest. It's going to be how I feel at 50, or I should say actually 51. I don't know how it happened. The years have flown by, but here I am at 51 years old. Sorry if I'm going to be a bit out of breath for most of this. I'll try my best to talk properly. So what I would want to talk about is all the changes that have happened and how I feel overall. And I'll start from the top, work my way down and give you my overall opinion. So let's get to it. What's changed? The brutal truth. I'm comparing myself, by the way, to my 25-year-old self, half my age. So let's start from the top. First, hair. Definitely thinning. Up to 50% of men have thinning hair, and by my age now, it's definitely not as lush as it was at 25. And moving down the second day, skin tone. I've just started to notice crow's feet, skin's not so elastic. Bags under the eyes, because as you age, you lose collagen in the skin. UV damage, but also you just lose collagen. So skin tone has definitely taken a hit. So that aside, I think one of the biggest changes I've noticed is in your joints. So gone are the days where you can just spring out of bed at a moment's notice. So in the morning when you get out of bed, there's definitely a little stiffness. Not bad, but it's there. And it takes about 20 seconds to walk off. Next on the list, it's going to be a long list, is recovery. When you're in your 20s, you go to the gym, you get an ache, and it might last a couple of days, 2 days, 3 days. If you do a really hard workout at this age, that ache can last for up to a week. So definitely recovery has changed. Whoa, man. Recovery has changed. And that also goes for your joints too. You probably know that around for the 50-year mark, you probably won't see so many people on YouTube lifting heavy weights. And really it's because at that age you start to feel your joints. So far I've been quite lucky, but even then I know that I'm not as flexible as I was when I was 25. Good spot for a breather. So carrying that on, isn't it nice here? So with your joints, to keep them stable, are your ligaments. And this is where I've noticed probably the biggest change is flexibility. Remember when you were 18 or 20, someone knocked on the door, you sprang up off your chair, didn't matter. If that happens now or in the morning, you definitely feel that you have to stretch out before you can bend as far as you did when you were younger. So what that means is you've become more stiff. So it hasn't reached the stage where there's nothing that you can't do when you were 25, but you definitely need to warm your ligaments, tendons up before they're supple, and definitely notice that. But then going on, there's the internal side of things. Just biologically speaking, living's toxic, and I know my lung capacity has dropped because I measure it from my work quite regularly, so it's dropped over 20 years, and my aerobic capacity has definitely dropped. Get out of breath, and my pulse has slowed down as well, and I've also noticed that my maximum heart rate has dropped a few beats from 10 years ago. It's so funny. Whoa. Whoa. It's so funny. If I compare myself to a 25-year-old, I think in terms of raw processing power, if you were to sit down and just do sheer processing power calculations, you won't be able to do them as quickly as you did when you were 25. Of course, that's balanced up by wisdom, so they say. Whoop. If you've got lots of facts to remember or to learn, it will take a touch longer than it did when you were 25, and it stands to reason because you're losing hundreds of millions of brain cells every day just as part of living. So you sort of get the picture. If you're going to be brutally honest, then I think it's fair to say that every bodily system goes downhill a bit, even urine production, because your kidneys are less efficient as you age. By the time you're 70, maybe a third is efficient. All in all, if you were compared against your 25-year-old self with equal training in pretty much anything, I think it's fair to say you'd lose. I would certainly lose. But the key is with equal training. So I hear you cry, this is all doom and gloom. Where's the good news? Well, there is good news. And I'll continue that back in the van. So back in the camper van now, cheers. So, it's not all doom and gloom getting older. So at this age, at 51 now, I'm probably enjoying life as much as I ever have. And that is the honest truth. And that's for a few reasons. I think the first and most important one is that you can still do everything physically you could do at 25, but you probably will take longer to do it. I think that's a fair thing to say. That's if you manage to stay, you've aged healthily. The second thing is I abused my body when I was younger. I smoked, which was stupid. I've made a video about that before. So I'm sure I was lucky to escape with minimum damage, but I'm sure it did do a little. And I've been making up for it ever since for many years, really. And the key thing is the other thing is when you get older, I think because you start to think a bit more about your age, you're more inclined to do healthier things or things that are more healthy and better for you. So not always, of course, but there's a bit more motivation to go for that run or go on your bike or cycle or include some kind of exercise into your routine. You're a bit more aware that your body is a bit more fragile than it used to be. But all in all, you can do everything that you once did, a bit of a slower pace maybe. So that's a positive. But I think the most, for me personally speaking, the most important thing as you get older, you've probably heard it from many people, is confidence. Is that you don't care so much. You're and what I mean by that is you're happy in your own skin. You know what you're good at. You know what you're bad at. You try and improve those things that you're bad at, but you care less what other people think, and you know if you're doing a good job or a bad job, and you just don't mind so much what other people think. Don't get me wrong, you still want to do well, and you want to do well in the eyes of those that
that you respect, maybe, but in terms of keeping up with the Joneses or impressing people, you don't care so much anymore. And having that comfort about yourself, all those cheesy references, you learn to like yourself when you get older. And I know for a lot of younger people, that is a problem, is that insecurity. But for most people, I think, when they got older, not everyone, of course, but for most, I've certainly found, is that you're just comfortable with yourself, and that's worth its weight in gold, and that's worth aging for, in my opinion. And beyond that, if to get momentarily philosophical, is that we're all mortal. Being alive, we've all got a set number of years, and as you get older, those years become more valuable. You know, we've still got 50. You've still got, well, it depends how well, a number of factors, but a good few decades left, hopefully. But even so, it makes you start to value your time, because this is it. So, and your health comes to the forefront, and you want to take better care of yourself. When I was 28, I thought I was old. Then when I hit 30, I thought I was going to be in despair. And when I hit 40, I thought, right, I'm going to be in despair. And then I hit 50, and guess what? I've never been in despair. That doesn't mean life presents its ups and downs. There's been a couple, but overall, it hasn't been a bad experience. In fact, I would say at this moment in time is the best time of my life. I've got a fantastic family, partner in life, 2 amazing kids. I've got a rewarding work, and I'm still physically capable of doing the exercise that I want. So life for the moment is good. Of course, when I get older, we all, because of living, will become frail. None of us will live forever. But as we get older, it's about adapting. In the same way I couldn't compete with myself at 25, I won't be able to compete with myself when I'm 50, when I'm 75. But I'll probably take a new line of life there. Perhaps work within your limitations and do what you can. One thing that does strike for me, of course, is that people don't like talking about it, and I've often wondered why, because I find it a fascinating process, aging. You know, you look in the mirror, you stare yourself back every day, and you can see it happening. If you look at photos of yourself, even 3 years ago, you can see that you don't look the same as you did then, and it's just part of life. And getting comfortable about it is one of the most important things I think you can do, because it's going to happen to everyone if we're lucky enough. I am talking about this from a male perspective, and I do know that women have some extra challenges as well that come along as they age, but I don't really feel qualified to talk about it. So I'll be interested to hear if there's any comments down below on that as well. So there, in a nutshell, is my overall summary. What happens when you age? Yes, everything declines. Everything. Your speed, your stamina, your looks, everything goes downhill. But on the upside of that, there are gains. And the most important one being confidence in your own skin, which is worth its weight in gold. And it makes you value life more. And life is rich. Would I press the button and go back to being 25? If I could go back and be 25 with the knowledge I have now, then yes. But I don't. I wouldn't have the knowledge I have now, or the mentality I have now. So on balance, at this stage, no. That might change. In another 10 years, though, who knows? That might change. Be interested to hear what you think. I find aging a fascinating subject according to evidence and scientific principles. So once again, thanks for watching. If you do like these, press the subscribe button and watch out for the next video.